Hello everyone, welcome to Grounded Roots Healing. I am still Jason, and I wanted to talk about a shamanic journey I had, as well as a dream, which they've been getting so vivid lately. It's been absolutely wild. It's messages and meetings, and dreams are not what they used to be. Dreams aren't just random things that happen anymore. There's always a message, and there's sometimes strange things that happen. So I just did a video. I'm going to do my second one here, but I just did a video about the US election and the state of our healthcare system. So I'll do something a little bit more lighter. And yeah, on the way down here, I got some divination, some messages, and one of them was in the form of several songs. So the first one was called Creating a Dream by Xavier Rudd. It's a wonderful song. I didn't understand what he was saying until now, till this recent revelation of, let's say, my divinity. And what that song is talking about is exactly what I think is happening, in that we are God creating a dream. We're living a dream down here, and the song says something like, "Patience, please, I'm creating a dream." There's a lot of that, and yeah, patience, isn't that the key? And then Lose Control by Teddy Swims came on, and that song makes me sing at the top of my lungs every single time. And now my throat is kind of sore. But it's a wonderful way to drive your vibration up. So I'll spare you singing that song, because that is some hell of a range he has. But I can sing okay, but definitely not Lose Control. But I still enjoy doing it, so sing. Even if everybody doesn't like what you're doing. Amanda. My throat does hurt though. So I had a live shamanic journey held by Sarah Hall today, and it was wild. Each one gets a little bit clearer. So I consumed some of our ceremonial cacao with reverence. I cleaned my bedroom area where I do these, and I arranged some crystals and made it as feng shui as I could. And because energy, right? Burn some sage, yada yada yada. Make the place great, get your energy great, the energy of the room great. And when I sat down to do the session, I was drinking the cacao, and it made me extremely tired, relaxed. So I was laying there, my eyes open and closed, listening to the angelic messages, and she was answering some questions which were really cool, and I learned a lot more about what we're doing and where we're going, and I made some more opinions about this. But as I was sitting there listening to her, I could see with my eyes open my auric colors waving in front of my eyes. Very vibrant. That doesn't happen all the time, and I'm certain that the cacao is really helpful in getting your vibration higher and putting you in a grounded state. So I would highly recommend that to anyone who's trying to do this stuff, these shamanic journeys. So then we went on the journey. Now, this was a lower world journey, or at least that's what it was intended to. As Sarah stated, the universe is going to take you where it needs to take you the most. And that is the intention you should set, and you should have no expectations. But in my case, that's exactly where I went, was to the lower world. And I had some cool things happen. So we initiated into the lower world. We started sinking. I envisioned a door or a gateway, and it didn't take very long, and I was there. I could feel it. It's like an inky darkness. That's the way I describe it. Like you're in an inky darkness, but it's not scary. It's just the way it is. It's the energy of the place. For me, anyway. And then it's almost like a suggestion. How did she state it? It was something like, now you'll interact with a spirit of a plant, or a plant spirit. And no specifics, no what kind, but whatever the universe wants to show you. So in my case, a hemlock tree, hemlock forest, but this in particular, a tree popped into my vision. And I did see it very clearly. And then I was to ask the tree if it had any messages for me, or any knowledge, or any learning. And I could see myself walking through a hemlock forest after this big, beautiful tree in the middle. They're huge, and they're very, very old. They're very old trees. We have quite a few of them around here. They look similar to pine trees, but they're a little shorter, and they tend to grow closer to water sources. So they're usually along streams, and it has to be old growth. So a lot of the times it's places where they couldn't access to harvest these trees. They couldn't cut them down, at least around here. So it was no different for me. I was in sort of a gully with steep edges, and there's always moss under these. Sphagnum moss, or just I can't remember the name of the moss we have around here. That little soft, fluffy moss, and it's very quiet, and hemlock needles all over it. So it was almost orange and soft and spongy. And I was walking through this forest, and the message I got from the hemlock tree, as Sarah had stated earlier in the journeying, was that plants, and trees in particular, their roots go deep into the earth. So they are not unlike, and are an extension of Gaia herself. They have their own specific, let's say, personalities and abilities, but that is the sense I got. It was that this tree was ancient, powerful, and that I was told, sit and meditate under these trees, and then use them almost as a conduit. Even take a nap. So it seemed very inviting, I will admit, because it was dry and the moss was really spongy, and it did look like a great place to take a nap. So, and then she said we would interact with an animal spirit. No, again, no specifics. Now, almost every time that she's prompted us to do this on these journeys, I see a white stag. And that's immediately where my brain went. Except, it's like the energy didn't feel right. So I envisioned that in my mind's eye, and it didn't feel right. And then it changed. And it became a porcupine. So the animal spirit I interacted with was that of a porcupine. Now, I historically have had disdain for these creatures, and like, not unwarranted disdain either, because they do a lot of damage here. In this part of the world, they eat a lot of bark off trees, and they kill trees. They poop everywhere. They do a lot of damage, and they're and they do eat our bait apples here when we're deer hunting and stuff. So historically, I've not liked them very much as an animal. And the message I got was that all God's creatures are important, even if I don't understand why, and maybe they, I get angry because they've eaten productive apple trees. Well, they still deserve to exist, and they are part of the cycle. So they do provide something positive. I'm still not sure what it is, but and for that I was given the image. It wasn't a regular porcupine. It was almost like a caricature. Amanda, I tried to describe it to Amanda, and she said it was like a demure porcupine, which fits surprisingly well. It was kind of funny, but it looked like his quills were hair, and his hair was slicked back, and frankly, like Sonic the Hedgehog, but way more handsome. So this is the porcupine I saw, and then we were prompted that the porcupine would introduce us to, I believe, as he said, a Fey realm, an entity from the Fey realm. And what came to my mind, I immediately felt the energy, but I didn't see things like I did with the other two. I got a glimpse of something that looked like a fairy to me. So maybe it is that I'm not aware of what this being is, or that I'm misinterpreting it. So I think it's a fairy, but it doesn't quite align with what it actually is. And that may be the case, and that may be not why I couldn't see it clearly. But either way, I did interact with the being of the Fey realm, which I think was a fairy. And she took me through the hemlock forest again. The porcupine was gone, the demure porcupine. And through the forest of the hemlocks, which was absolutely beautiful, there was a river in between the two banks, and a beautiful waterfall with a rock at the base of it. And the message that I got from the fairy was that these waterfalls and water features, especially when they intertwine with massive old hemlock trees, are high energy locations. High energy. And not all high energy locations are created equal, and that this particular area was a special one. So I was to meditate on this rock. So that was wonderful. It's getting all kinds of information, and then the fairy was to take us to see an angelic being, but what would be called a nature angel, or the natural world, the lower realm. It's an angel, just like an angelic, like Gabriel. Well, that's an archangel, but it's a being of pure love, but they're responsible for the natural environment. And I very clearly saw a male figure with blonde hair and wings, with a bright green hue, all around him, all through him. It's not really describable because it was almost as if he was composed of the green light. It's not emerald, but that's the closest I can come to describing it, I think. Say like a light emerald color. And he had a special message for me. So when I first had my enlightenment, the 3-day enlightenment, and I wrote this stuff out, I also wrote out predictions of what I would do with my life where I would live, like right down to the piece of property and the home, and creating this, say, it's not a hospital, but I guess a nature hospital would be the best way to describe it. It's like a retreat center, and with rescue animals. It's all in my book. It's described in excruciating detail. I've known that this was what I needed to do. I just had no idea how I was going to do it, because that takes a lot of money. The exact piece of property, by some strange coincidence, came up for sale a while back, and it's very expensive, and I can't see how this is going to work. But the angel told me that that particular location is my responsibility. That energy center, I am the caretaker of that energy center, and that in the future, this is my job, to preserve the nature and to show people the power of this energy center. How that's going to happen, I have no idea. And frankly, I had given up hope that this would happen. And that's how I know this isn't my imagination, because I did not want to think that, because like I said, I didn't want to get my hopes up. This amount of money we're talking about is in the millions to secure the property and the area where this hemlock and waterfall and an energy center is going to take millions of dollars, and I have no idea where that's going to come from. You know, I've got 167 wonderful subscribers on here. That isn't going to cut it. And I know I'm a healer. I can't do anything impressive yet. I don't know how. I don't know what it's going to do. You know, I'm over here looking at the sign here, and it has the lottery on it. Maybe that's it. I do know that this is a dream, and that, you know, in the 3D world, all of that seems impossible. But we're not in the 3D world. Miracles can and do happen all the time, and I do have to believe that will happen for me. Why in God's name would the universe do that to a person? Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you detail this beautiful life in excruciating detail on this beautiful piece of property that needs to be preserved? With all of this, like I said, excruciating detail, I know everything about this. I can see it. And then string me along for a year. And then, you know, I lose hope, frankly. And then it reignites my hope doing a shamanic journey. To me, my logical mind says that something big is going to happen, and that I will get that miracle, and that I will be able to open this place and keep it natural for the fairies and the nature angels and the hemlock trees and even the porcupines, the demure porcupines. So I think that's where I'll leave it. Yeah, so as I always say, I hope this video finds you well. I love you all, and you can come visit my nature hospital when I open it. We'll see you tomorrow.